Welcome to the workshop. My name is Arden and I am a writing tutor for the Writing Center. Today, we will be learning how to revise for clarity and learn more about subjects and their verbs. As we get started, there are a few writing expectations to keep in mind. First, be aware that your writing will always be clearer to yourself than to others. Second, use words that name concrete, specific characters and actions for the reader. And understand that readers expect to learn information in a subject-verb-object order. But what does it mean to write clearly? Well, unclear writing can stump the reader with wordiness, complex words, confusing phrases, dense content, or unrelated material. That means that clear writing is direct and logical and effortlessly guides the reader to the main concepts. We can help guide the reader by clearly defining characters and actions. Let's take a minute to take a look at the pieces of a sentence. The subject is the part of the sentence that shows who or what performs an action. The predicate is the part of a sentence that shows the action being performed. For example, in the sentence, the dog chased his tail, the dog is the subject and chased his tail is the predicate. We can also think about this in terms of the noun and the verb. A noun is a person, place, or thing, and a verb is an action a noun is performing. In the sentence, the tall building blocked the sun, the tall building is the noun because it is a thing, and the verb in the sentence is to block or blocking the sun in this case. In other words, we can think about these two pieces as the character, the people or concrete elements that initiate action, and the action, which describes what characters do. Remember that character and action are not grammatical terms, they're just used to help you understand the roles of nouns and verbs in a sentence. A clear sentence will have the character before the action, performing the action of the verb. So in our examples before, the word dog is the noun and it's before the verb chased. And tall building is our noun and it's before the verb blocked. With that in mind, consider the following two sentences. There is hope among students that there will be more class sections offered by the university. And students hope the university will offer more class sections. Which one is easier to understand and why? So in the first sentence, the characters and their actions are not in the subject and verb positions. In the second sentence, the characters, which are nouns that initiate action, here this is students in university, are the subjects of the clauses. The characters' actions, hope and will offer, are the verbs of the clauses. Sentences that begin with there is or there are called expletive sentences. An expletive is a word or phrase without any real meaning. Because there comes from the verb is, it appears to be the subject in the original sentence. In the original sentence, there is a dummy subject in the expletive sentence. Next, if we think about nominalization, this occurs when a verb is turned into a noun. Nominalization can make actions seem hidden or unclear in a sentence. Consider the following two sentences. The investigation of the crime was conducted by FBI agents, or FBI agents investigated the crime. Which one is easier to understand and why? Well, in the first sentence, the verb investigate is turned into a noun, investigation. The sentence is unclear because priority is given to the action rather than to the character performing the action. It is also not a very strong sentence because it relies on a weak verb, in this case was, which doesn't carry much meaning. In the second sentence, the verb investigate is used as a past tense verb, investigated. The character, the noun that's initiating the action, here FBI agents, is the subject of the clause. The character's action, investigated, is the verb of the clause. By denominalizing investigation, the sentence has a much stronger, more meaningful verb, which is investigated. Sentences in active voice are more concise than those in passive voice because fewer words are required to express action. Using active voice makes your meaning clear for readers and keeps the sentences from becoming too complicated or wordy. With passive voice, the subject is being acted upon. With active voice, the subject is doing the action. So let's consider this paragraph. During the walk, a kitten was found by Alex's dog. The kitten was brought back to the house by Alex. A blanket was recommended by Sam to keep the kitten warm. In case the kitten was thirsty, a glass of milk was placed on the ground by Sam. The room was left and the door was closed by Alex, Sam, and the dog. An hour later, a noise was made by the kitten. Excitement was felt by everyone, and a new home was had by the kitten. Pause this video and try to identify the characters and the actions. So, the characters have been bolded and actions have been underlined. Notice that the characters are after the actions in each sentence. Go ahead and pause the video again and rewrite each sentence so that the characters come before the actions. In this revised paragraph, we have, during the walk, Alex's dog found a kitten. Alex brought the kitten back to the house. Sam recommended a blanket to keep the kitten warm. In case the kitten was thirsty, Sam placed a glass of milk on the ground. Alex, Sam, and the dog left the room and closed the door. An hour later, the kitten made a noise. Everyone felt excited, and the kitten had a new home. So consider this revised paragraph and go ahead again and pause the video to identify the characters and actions. So these revisions placed the character before the action in each sentence, and they were able to replace the word was with a stronger verb. So how can we revise for clarity in our papers? Well, there are 3 steps to follow, starting with diagnosing the problem. We want to identify the subjects and verbs in our sentences, look for abstract nouns in the subject phrase, and check for passive voice. So for example, in the sentence, the intention of the committee is to audit the records. Intention is the subject and is the verb. Next, we will analyze. Determine the characters and look for concrete actors. Find the corresponding actions and check to see if the characters are located in the subject of the clause and the actions are located in the verb of the clause. In our example, the committee is the character that should be performing the action. We can see that audit is a stronger verb than is. So lastly, we're going to revise. So we're going to change the actions into verbs and make the characters the subjects of those verbs. So in our examples, after we've done step 1 and step 2, we're going to revise our example sentence to say, the committee intends to audit the records, which is a clearer sentence because we have the character before the action. Thank you for watching our video on revising for clarity. Remember that we want our characters before our actions, and the revision process can take place in just 3 easy steps. Please feel free to come back to the Writing Center's website if you want to continue learning about this or any other topic. You can also check out our blog for the latest tips and conversations on writing, and you can always find us on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. Take care and happy writing.